Okay, everybody. Say hi. Just got 2 hours. What took about 3 hours to finish pouring all Donna's meds for the next 3 weeks. Okay, so now, I just want to make a quick video. Sorry if my hair's all messed up here. I'm waiting for a new mattress to be delivered because for my back, and I have another medical procedure tonight in the hospital again. I've been going to the hospital almost every day for something. So today is they're looking for cancer in my stomach and all that stuff. So we're going to be doing contrasts and CAT scans and whatever. All right, but now aside from all that negative stuff, because it is what it is, you can see like how sick I look. You know, it's just you can't even hide anymore. My color's off. I look terrible. Like something's obviously very wrong in my body. But anyway, we pioneer on. It is what it is. I die, I get to be with Jesus. If I don't, then I'm stuck down here in this hellhole called Earth with the rest of you during the times of the tribulation, and not looking forward to that. So, major spinal surgery coming up on the 30th. So keep me in prayer. But the reason I'm making this video is because I wanted to prove a very good point. And I don't normally publicly call people out like this, and I really hope she sees this. She probably won't. There's a very clear, and I keep saying this, it is very obvious now who Jesus' children are, and you know, Christians versus the fakes, phonies, and frauds, and atheists, and everybody else in the world. You're either really a Christian, or you're not. And if you're not, it is so obvious in the way you act, the way you live, what you talk about, your interests, people you hang out with, whatever, and how you treat Christians like me. What's my point? I'm going to make a perfect example out of somebody. For many years now, I've been following a vlogger on YouTube called Jonna Jinton, this beautiful blonde Swedish girl, because I love the fact that she's an artist, and I used to be an artist, and she likes to make music and videography and photography, and she's living the dream of living out in the beautiful forests of Sweden, and, you know, off-grid, and beautiful cabins, and she's got all these buildings, different houses that she keeps renovating and living in. She's got her own art studio, she's got her own beautiful, she keeps getting different houses every so many years. She's happily married to Johan, her husband, she's got a dog, you know, whatever. She's like the perfect, you know, woman for me, like, you know, the way she looks, her talents, everything. Except, it is very obvious that her and her husband are not Christian. They're more New Age. She always talked, instead of giving thanks and praise to God about the beautiful Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights that she's always showcasing and talking so much about, and thanking God for her life and her talents and her beauty and her husband and her dog and everything, you know, her success, whatever, she never mentions Jesus or God or whatever. They don't go to church. They never pray. Okay, that's not anything new. Most people today are not Christians, right? Especially Catholics. And it bothers me. So, you know, but here's what I noticed. So she's living off-grid. They're miles and hours away from the cities and this and that and whatever. So they don't go to church. They don't pray, there's no Bible, there's no nothing. They're obviously just living their life, enjoying their life, their only reward now, okay? Living for themselves. They do nothing for God or for anyone else but themselves. So I still follow her, I like her videos, I like the music, I like everything about her except the fact that she doesn't know Jesus. So, over the years, okay, this is what I've noticed. She's got millions of followers all over the world. She's making tons of money off of YouTube videos. She's won awards. She's become quite famous in Sweden, all over the world. Okay? There's no one like her. She basically started this whole vlogging thing, basically. And now there's so many people copying her. Even gay guys trying to talk like her and look like her and live like her. And everybody's trying to get these little cabins and paint them red and white and live out in the woods of Sweden or in the whatever, all over the world. Try to live off-grid and film it. They keep messing with my video again. Everybody's trying to become famous YouTubers and this and that. Just like she is, right? But she was one of the very first, almost going back 10 years ago, you know, that I've been following her. And I've seen her before she met her husband and this and that, whatever, you know. So there's very few, I get bored very easily. I'm very critical, I don't like stupid stuff. So I'm very picky on if I'm going to put a video on in the background or whatever, I really got to like it or the person and what they stand for the most part. Now again, she's a talented, beautiful girl. I love her voice. I love the music. I love the way she does her videos, the editing and all that. She's a very awesome person. What I can't stand is that she's not a Christian or whatever, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to watch her or listen to her or whatever. She's still a human being. I pray for her. I pray for her conversion and her husband's conversion and whatever, But anyway, so I'm one of her biggest fans since the beginning. But what I've noticed, I've messaged her privately, personally, on her work emails, on her websites, because I'm somebody who wants to buy some of her stuff, and for gifts for people. I'm one of her biggest supporters. I've actually, whether she knows this or not, I've even told her, I've marketed her for years to many people. I've forwarded her videos. I put them on my Facebook page. I used to be somewhat of a celebrity myself in movies and acting and modeling and all that stuff. She should know that by now. I've told her that. I've showed her that. I sent her my links and movies and bio and whatever. Never have I gotten one response from her. Never. She's always talking about how she responds back to all her fans around the world, and she tries to address them all, and she reads all of their comments, and I see on her comment threads on all her videos that she personally replies back or clicks like or hearts or whatever on a lot of them. She reads them. She can't get back to all of them, but so here's what I noticed. She's never replied once to any of my comments over all these years. She's never responded to any of my emails. I got a generic automated office email response that they received my message, whatever, and that was it. It was a cold, just computer generated office response, but that was it from her website. I gave her great ideas for her marketing because I used to be involved in marketing and stuff too. I'm very good. I'm a jack of many trades. And I had some ideas I wanted to show her that she can do with her CDs and the paintings and stuff that would really be a hit and make a lot of money. And so whether she uses these ideas or not, I don't know, but they just said, thank you, we received your email, whatever, and that was it. But then finally somebody sent me a real curt message saying, Jonah has received it, but she will probably not respond back to you. Wow. Okay. So these people lie when they say they care about their fans. They don't care about me or you. And the reason they don't care about me is because I'm a Christian, and I know it. Because I put it to the test. I never mentioned Jesus before in most of my comments over the years or any of that stuff. I used to go and say, oh, you're so lucky, whatever, like everybody else. The same kind of comments that she gets from a million other people. I was always trying to be politically correct. But then I'm like, you know what? She's never mentioned or given glory to God. Nobody's ever concerned about this girl's soul. That she's living out in the woods and never goes to church, so she's going to end up in hell one day. All this stuff. I noticed that the people that follow her are all people who are new agers and witches and artsy-fartsy idiots and, off-gridders and just people who only care about themselves and live for themselves, to please the flesh, the world, the devil, to be comfortable, to be happy. I would love to live off-grid in the woods and the mountains too myself and get away from people. But I can't because I got to go to church. God says you must not forsake fellowship. God says you must keep holy the Sabbath day. I have to have a ministry. I have to be a Christian. I have to go to church as God commanded. So what I'm noticing is I never get the same treatment that she gives everyone else. And then I started noticing something else. If I just, everybody else who leaves comments under her videos, other people always reply back also. If she doesn't personally reply back, thank you or whatever, or put a heart or a thumbs up or whatever on the comment, or mention it in one of her vlogs or whatever. When somebody sends her a nice heartfelt message like I do, she usually mentions it. Oh, I got a really beautiful comment. Thank you so much to so-and-so, whatever. Then she promotes them, whatever. Never did that for me once. And what I noticed is that all her followers are atheists and hate Jesus and hate me because I'm a Christian. And I know this for a fact. How? Because I purposely started leaving comments the past couple of years. Just little things like, saying really nice things like, oh, I love your video, as usual, great job, keep on being you, I only watch you, you're my favorite vlogger, blah, 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 God bless. Or God has blessed you, or you're so blessed by God with your talents, or Jesus loves you, whatever, and just little things like that. Even just God bless. Everybody else puts things like, oh, peace, hope, and light, or the universe has favored you, or, oh, you're like a star child, or, oh, blessings, or blessed be, or just crazy stuff, but nothing ever Christian. There's never a mention of Jesus, of God, of being blessed by God. None of that. It's just very no God, just atheistic or pagan, basically. So everybody else's comments that they leave her, and there's thousands, other people respond back, other people put hearts on them, or likes, or whatever, or they'll chat back and forth, and whatever. Typical brown-nosing groupie followers. But what I noticed is whenever I leave a comment, not one like, not one heart, not one reply. Nothing. Not from Jonah Jinton herself, not from any of her fans. So I realized why. They know me now, because it's always the same groupies who follow her all the time, so they all know who I am now, because they read each other's comments. So they don't even bother responding. They're alienating me purposely because they know I'm a Christian. I know this is a fact because it's happened on all my comments. Now, not only that, one time I put it to a test. I noticed that there was a time for a couple months where she was sad and depressed about something, and what else is new? She's always complaining she's got depression and this. She's a kook. She's got mental problems. Honestly, if you want the truth, this girl is very talented, beautiful, whatever, but she's got problems. It is very obvious. Her and her husband have some psychological issues. That's why they chose that lifestyle out in the middle of the forest. And, and they have all these social issues. And if you watch her videos, like, oh, I don't like to be in camera, yet you're on camera all the time, narcissist. Or, oh, I don't like to be interviewed, but yet you do interview things. Or, oh, I get so nervous when I have to make a phone call. Like one time she had a flat tire or something on the side of the road and had to call like AAA or whatever, and she's like, I get so nervous when I have to call like a tow truck company, and actually I feel like I can't handle being put on the spot when they question me, like, I'm like, lady, okay, there's something wrong with you if you can't make a phone call and say, hi, I'm stranded off the road, can you please come and fix my tire or whatever. But for her, it's like, oh my gosh, I get so nervous and anxiety whenever I have to call someone. Okay, cuckoo, but whatever, we love you, whatever. Okay, we all got our problems. So I try to, ignore the crazy stuff and the kooky stuff and the stupid idiot attention and drama, and just stick with why I like her, and why I watch her stuff overall. We all have issues and things that people don't like about us. But the point is, so I shouldn't be getting offended by her not liking me and ignoring me purposely, which is a form of persecution of Christians, and never even responding back to any of my very nice worded, heartfelt, sincere messages, emails, whatever. But yet she gets back to everybody else, and her fans all love, if I make a comment, nobody puts like or love or even responds back. But everybody else gets likes, hearts, loves, and replies from her and from other commenters. Never me. So one time I put it to a test. I said, okay, I'm going to ask where her husband is. Because it's been a few videos and I haven't seen or heard from him at all, and that's not normal. I wonder if that's why she's depressed. Something's up. Maybe they broke up. I don't know. Is there trouble in paradise? So I said, hey, I noticed that, your husband Johan's not been in the film for a while. You guys still together? Did you break up? I mean, it's been a while. She never responded, but her fans, I must have had 100 comments respond back, and they ripped me apart. These people idolize this woman like she's a goddess and protect her. And I didn't ask anything wrong. I just said, are you okay? I hope everything's okay. I haven't seen your husband in any of the films in a while, or any of your vlogs in a while. Are you guys still together? And oh my God, that was all it took. And I got ripped apart. Mind your business. It's none of your business. Stay out of her personal life. You don't ask questions like, I can't be concerned. I've been following her for like 10 years. I know everything about her. She puts everything about her life on, every part of her house, her life, every issue she's ever had on the internet. And then all of a sudden, I asked him, is he okay? Is everybody okay? And it was just like genuine, And oh my gosh, the hate I got. It's like they were waiting for me to say the right thing for them to pounce. You need to mind your business. Whoa. So I got ripped apart a couple times by asking the wrong questions. But those are the only times I ever got any kind of comments back or responses, was hatred. Angry faces and hatred, and about 100 or more nasty negative comments from her fans and followers. But still no response from her either, unless she was one of them under a different name. I don't know, probably. So that means I was probably hit the nail on the hammer, but whatever. I got my concerns about what really goes on behind the scenes. I could see a narcissistic abuser when I see it, I know what it's like to be in a relationship with people like that and family members like that. So I see this blonde girl, idolizing her husband, making him seem so wonderful to the public. But still waters run deep, and this man is very quiet and introverted. And then today when they did a new video about interviewing him, because people want to really get to know this guy after all these years. So they did a video all about her and her husband, right? And asking him a million questions. And then something really struck me. Oh, she says, he never really yells at me or raises his voice or any of that. He never really gets very angry. He's always meek and quiet. Except for little stupid things, like if he drops a glove or spills something or a pen falls on the floor or whatever, then he gets enraged over the simple little stupidest things. Yes, and then he went on to explain, he goes, yeah, that's how I am. But it was what he said that really made me realize this is a recipe for disaster and there's a lot more to this. That poor girl. She's living out in a cabin in the middle of the woods, hours away from everybody, with this guy who obviously could snap and hurt her or be very possessive, controlling, violent. I'm not saying he is, but I'm just saying the signs are there of something. From the way he does his hair I could recognize the type. I'm telling you, I know a lot about psychology and all this stuff, and I'm telling you, I know all about, I'm being nice here, not exposing everything I see about her. I still like her. I've decided in my mind that love is a choice, and I'm going to follow her, and I like her, and listen, I'm not trying to badmouth her or her husband, but there are clear indications and signals here. Some of them, which it takes one to know one. So what he said, I can personally relate to. I have a very bad anger issue. And it is just exactly what he said word for word in this video that struck me. Like, wow, that's how I am. So, I feel bad for that girl. And I feel bad for him. He says, I don't really get upset about big things or whatever. It takes a lot to get me upset. But for example, if I go to put my gloves on the shelf and a glove falls on the floor, or if I go to grab my hat or glove to go outside to go to work or whatever, and the gloves fall on the floor, I get really angry about stupid little things like that because little stupid things like that are simple little things that should not happen. I don't have patience or time for little things. Now pay attention to what he's saying. Because I know that if dropping a pen on the floor is a big thing that sets him off into a rage, or dropping a hat or a scarf on the floor when you go to reach up for it to take it off the shelf is and a reason to get really upset, that is an indication that you're keeping a lot inside. So that the littlest thing, you stub your toe, you drop a glass on the floor, or drop a pen, your hat falls on the floor, it can set you off. Now that's dangerous, people. That is dangerous. Trust me, I know all about this because I've had to go to therapy for it myself. And when you're that quiet and cool, calm, collected, and happy and jovial, whatever, and then all of a sudden, I dropped my pills, and that's an indication of mental imbalance. That's an indication of rage, like a pressure cooker building behind a smile, behind a quiet person. He also said that he moved out to the woods because he doesn't want to be around people, and he doesn't like this, and he doesn't like that. Yeah, people like that, I feel the same way. I have no patience for people and their stupidity, and I'm always saying, well, these things happen out of carelessness. A lot of the stuff that wastes our time and energy and things that go wrong are because people are sloppy and careless, and it bothers me. It irritates me. I'd rather live alone because I'm a perfectionist and everything's controlled and perfect where it needs to be, and I can't stand when people are sloppy, lazy, or things happen like, oh, well, I can't find my credit card again. Why? Because you don't put it in the same spot all the time. Put it back in the same spot. Get in good habits. Be organized. Be clean and organized, and, and these things won't happen. We won't have to waste 10 minutes every single day, every time we want to go somewhere, trying to find something, because it should always be put back. Right when you're done using it, you should always know where to find everything. Like, if I have to go spend 10 minutes looking for a pair of scissors in this house, when there's a drawer right there, there's a scissor drawer. There's a drawer for everything in this house. I personally took a lot of time to organize every part of this house so that I know where everything is, so she knows where everything is. And when she comes and takes things out and puts them somewhere else, and now I got to spend 10, 20 minutes of my time that I can never get back, and I'm always late, and I'm always pressed for time, getting angry because I can't find something that should be there, and she doesn't know where it is either because she put it somewhere else because she just used it and never put it back, drives me insane. It's a waste of my time and energy, and I get angry at stuff like that. Little things like that, yes, they set me off because it shouldn't happen. It's not necessary. And when it happens all the time, it's just because someone's too lazy to put something back, or they take it out of one drawer and throw it in another drawer. Why would you take a knife out of the knife drawer and then put it back in the spoon drawer or the utensil drawer, so when I go to reach my hand in there to grab a soup spoon or to stir a pot or whatever, I get cut on it? It shouldn't be in there. That's why there's a knife drawer. The knives don't belong in there. There's a knife drawer, there's a fork and spoon drawer, and then there's a drawer for odds and ends, like big stuff, whatever. And I know where everything is. And I shouldn't have to be, where's the knife? Where's this? Where's that? Because nobody's putting it back where it belongs, you know what I mean? That gets me aggravated. So anyway, the point is, we all have our quirks, but it's a very big red flag. Everything he said about himself in that video makes me worry for Jonna that they probably do have fights. That he probably is a little controlling, overbearing, or a little impatient with her. She seems like the kind of person who would drive me crazy because she's very whimsical and ditzy and, and I used to date someone, I know somebody like that, and it drove me crazy because everything's like, so like childish and like fanciful and like whimsical, and it's just like, would you just, come on, we don't have time for this. Come on, like, enough, grow up. Let's be normal here. Do you take anything serious in life? Why is everything got to be such a movie or a fantasy all the time, And so people like that, these artsy-fartsy, whimsical, crazy, immature, kooky people, I don't have patience for either. And so I can see that he probably doesn't have, whatever. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to judge, none of my business, I might be wrong, but the signs are there. And I've dated enough narcissists, I've lived with a family that was like this. I myself can be this way. I'm telling you. I got some bad buttons you don't want to push that I work on. And thank God I'm a Christian, because it helps me, under fear of God and of hell, to get myself lined up and appropriate. Appropriate love and mercy and behavior and patience. Because otherwise, before I became a Christian, I was off the hook. You never know what you were going to get. I could get very angry, I can whatever, and over the stupidest little things, and at the end of the day, it's like, is it really worth fighting over, or getting angry and having a coronary over, or going to hell over something stupid? Like, okay, I dropped a glass, and now I gotta take time to clean it up now, and the spoon fell down, and one of those days where you're already in a rush, and then you stub your toe, and then this happens, and you can't find something, and then this falls on the floor, and then you're trying to get out the door, and something spills, and now you're 10 minutes late because that spilled, and you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So I understand what he's saying. It's little stupid things like that shouldn't happen, that are just annoying and can get you enraged. But I'm trying to explain something here. It goes way deeper than that. You're already upset with a lot of things in life. You're already unhappy about stuff. So when the littlest stupid things do happen, you snap at the wrong things, the wrong people, the wrong time, for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? Or it could make a bad day a lot worse. Over the littlest thing could push you overboard when you're already ready to snap. And that's my concern, that this guy's a ticking time bomb, ready to whack someone or yell at someone or be abusive, whatever, at the drop of a hat, literally. So, or if she does something that gets him, I don't know. I always worry that he's not so happy with her being popular and famous and vlogging all their personal life all the time. But he agreed to that when he married her. And I think that it's wearing on him. I don't think he likes it so much, but he won't say anything because it's who she is. And it's why they're rich right now and doing so well. So, I'm just saying, not to be a jerk or unchristian or to gossip or anything, but just to prove a point. The point is that look at the source. These people are hurting my feelings by mistreating me because I'm being loving and a good fan, a good follower from my heart. I really do care. I've been following her for years. I'm one of her biggest supporters. I share all her videos, whatever. And she treats me terribly. But nobody else. Only me. Other people say nice things to her all the time, and she responds back. But it's just me. And I know it's personal because it's been happening for years now. And so now I'm mad, and I know it's intentional. And I know that her followers also target me intentionally. And why? What's the point of this? Because I say things like, God bless. Or I mention Jesus. Or God, Jesus has blessed you, or Jesus did a great job when he created you and gave you talents, or thank God for people like you, or whenever you mention Jesus, God, or anything that has to do with God, or blessings, or whatever, anything that's a Christian lingo, you're automatically persecuted and hated, or at the very least, ignored on the internet, on the comment stream, on websites. Jonah herself. Now, she could fix all this by commenting back. Now, if her fans saw that she put a heart or a like on one of my comments, it would change everything. Then maybe other people would start, okay, because people do what their favorite celebrity does. So Jonah's got all these crazy followers and groupies. So if Jonna is her name, if Jonna really wanted to be a Christian one day, she could lead a lot of souls to Christ. And I told her that. I even messaged her one day. I said, it's a shame because you're not using your fame and fortune and beauty and talents to glorify God and to save souls. And you could do that easily by just being you. Little things like just pray or say thank you, Jesus, or whatever. But she knows that a lot of her followers would stop following her, just like they do to me, because she's a Christian publicly. And she's not a Christian anyway. She hates God. She doesn't believe in him. Whatever. She's made that pretty clear by her videos and her whole lifestyle. And her followers are birds of a feather flock together. So she'd probably, like me, I used to have 5,000 Facebook followers and friends, and now I have 500 because I became a Christian. So in the past decade, I lost over 5,000 people because I became a Christian. And then I lost a lot of Protestant friends because I'm a Catholic. So, but again, Jesus said this would happen. She doesn't want to lose her fans, but she also doesn't care about Jesus anyway, so she's not trying to get Christian fans. She's got all these whimsical other people like her. Birds of a feather flock together. Like attracts like. That's what I'm saying. I'm probably one of her very few Christian fans because of this. Because we can't really support a lifestyle of just self-indulgence and, acting like a fairy out in the woods and living this beautiful dream of a life, but never giving glory to God, never living for God, never going to church, never praying, never thanking him for it. You know what I mean? It's just all about her. She makes herself a god. So, and a lot of people do that in life, whether they intend to do it intentionally or not. When you don't have Jesus in your life, okay, then it's obvious that you are just living for self, the world, the flesh, the devil, and you're not going to make it to heaven. And maybe you don't care, but I'm just saying. So yes, I'm mad because today I purposely copy and pasted this very long, beautiful comment that I gave her, encouraging her, her work, everything I love about her and everything, and her husband and this and that. It was all so positive and heartfelt. Like, really, I really outdid myself this time intentionally to be brown-nosing like everybody else, because she's mentioned other people in her video blogs who've done the same thing over the years, left her nice messages, inspiring messages, when she's depressed and this and that. And if you heard what I wrote, I really meant it with all my heart. But she never responded. And nobody hit like on it. I know people read it because they're nosy, but nobody liked it. So I copy and pasted this on several of her videos over the past week, under videos going back years. The newest one, I put it all over the place. And still, not one like, not one heart, not one reply, not even from any of our other commenters or fans. Then I said, you know what? Screw this. Fine. If that's how you're going to be, then I'm going to say how I really feel. And I edited it. And I added a whole section about Jesus, and I put it in caps. God spared no expense. He really put a lot of time and extra time and talent and beauty into you. He gave you the talents you have to glorify himself. He thank God for you. You make the world a better place. See, you people like you are proof, along with everything else, the sun, the moon, the stars. A beautiful soul like you, Jonah, are proof that God exists and is loving. I really put a Christian glorifying God spin on it to not only help her feel good, and because the point was to make her and anybody who reads it hear about Jesus and have to acknowledge Jesus and give glory and credit to Jesus. The fact that this is a beautiful woman, Jesus created her in his womb, in her mother's womb. The fact that she's talented and so successful, that's Jesus also. He deserves the glory and credit for that. The fact that she's able to be healthy and live this beautiful lifestyle and be famous and rich out in the middle of the woods of Sweden and have a successful jewelry business and all this stuff, that's all Jesus. He allows that. He gave her the ability, the health, the beauty, the talents, the interests, the ability to have family out there. He decided she would be born in Sweden. It's all God. No one, not even herself, Jonna, gave Jesus any thought or glory or not one thank you, no credit for any of this. All she does is say how, in all her vlogs, about how beautiful the stars are, how beautiful the northern lights are, how beautiful, how much she loves her house and her art studio and her life and her husband and her dog, and how awesomely blessed she is. But she never uses the word blessed. She never thanks God or mentions God in any way. She always says the energy, the universe. I am lucky. I am so lucky. I am so fortunate. Oh, the universe has been so good to me. Why can't you just acknowledge Jesus for Jesus, God for God? Why can't you even use... She never mentions the word God. And is it done out of sheer political correctness? No. She really doesn't. It is very obvious that she just doesn't want to give God any credit or glory. So I finally messaged her, and I know she got them. I messaged her privately at work over the past about a couple months ago because I noticed this, and I just wanted to make sure that I, as an evangelist, reached out to her at least a couple times just to make sure that she has the option to be converted and saved. I pray for her at night, her and her husband, for their conversion and salvation. She's never even responded to me. She doesn't even know I exist, or she probably knows me now and hates me. But before she even knew I existed, before I ever reached out to this celebrity, I was praying for her for years, for her conversion. And I always said to the Lord, I said, Lord, she's got the life that I would love to have, except there's no church. She never goes to church. She never prays. She don't have a Bible in her house. She never mentions you. She doesn't pray. She didn't thank you. Nothing. She's just living for nothing, just for herself. She didn't even think about you. What a tragedy that is. So I prayed for her conversion, and then I finally felt like the Holy Spirit told me, reach out to her. You reach out to people all the time. Reach out to her too. What's the worst that's going to happen? So I did. I finally privately messaged her at work, whatever. And I just said, listen, I started out saying, you have the life I would love to have. I hope to find a wife as beautiful and talented as you one day, to live a life similar to yours. I would love to move out to the woods of Sweden or live in the mountains of Vermont or whatever and be off grid and be artistic and all that. Again, I would love it. However, here's my concern, Jonna. I'm a Christian, so I can't, because I've got to make sure that there's a Catholic church near where I live, within distance that I can get to every Sunday, at least every Sunday, if not every day. I've got to live first for God, I said, because what does it profit a man or woman to gain the whole world and lose their soul? We can't just live for ourselves and the pleasures of life and enjoy this beautiful creation and the beautiful woods and all that God gave us to glorify Himself and to build up and enjoy, to prove that He exists. But we have to thank Him for it and everything that He's given us and our talents. We have to live for Him, not just for ourselves. We can have things, we can enjoy life, but we have to put Him first. That's a commandment. And I'm concerned that do you ever go to church? Because you've never mentioned it. You never pray in any of your videos. I don't see a crucifix in your house. I don't see a Bible. I've never seen you talk about Jesus or God or mention the word God or Jesus or blessing or anything that indicates at all that you're even a believer. And I see that you're doing all these pagan rituals and stuff in your videos sometimes about, I gotta warn you, Jonna, that, everything else about you is awesome, but you're missing Jesus. And without Him, you have nothing really. And, please consider giving your life to Christ and think about all the millions of followers you have. If you become a Christian, you might lose some. Yeah, but what if you don't? What if you find a way to slowly incorporate Jesus into your life and show people the transition, and you end up saving many souls? I'm like, you got to use your talents, your celebrity that you have. You got millions of followers. Why can't you, Jonna, do this? I said this to her. No response, of course. I didn't expect a response. But now it's like, and I've messaged her. There's so many opportunities this girl could have had even before I mentioned Jesus over the years to respond back to me. I know she knows who I am. I know I sent her my resume because I even wanted to work for her company. And so I sent a resume, I sent links, I showed her my acting bio, whatever, my photos when I was younger, showed her that I was an Abercrombie model, all this stuff. Okay, I thought that if she didn't like me for me and being a good fan and follower, when she finds out I used to be a celebrity myself with clout, and I have connections for her, by the way, still to this day. If you really want to get into movies, I got agents, I got people. I just don't want to put people into the satanic industry that I left. But I still am who I am, and I can always go back if I wanted. And so I help people all the time who really need help in the industry. I just don't do it. I love it, but I got to put God first, and if it's a conflict of my Catholic interest, then I don't do it, period. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? So she could have benefited. She could have had a good friend in me. She could have had, whatever. But she's choosing to just ignore. Okay, fine. I still follow her. I'm still a fan. I still help her out. I still show people how to buy her products because I'm a good person, because that's what Christians do. We love people, even our enemies. Jesus says, give your enemy a glass of water if they're thirsty, whatever. So I still do that. I still promote her. I'm happy for her. I pray for her often, and her husband and her six. I just want her converted and saved, because it would be a huge loss to the kingdom of God to lose such a beautiful person and soul with so much talent that could glorify God for now and eternity. And she could lead so many souls to heaven. And it's not just her. There's many celebrities out in the world that can do this. I try to use my whatever I've got left to do this. And yes, I went from 5,000 Facebook followers down to 500. I knew that was going to happen, but I did it anyway. At least everybody knows that Jesus Christ is Lord and that I stand with Him and that I'm not ashamed to call Him God and Lord in public, so that on Judgment Day He'll never be able to tell me you denied me publicly. No, and I lost my career, I lost my family, I lost everything for you, Lord. I'm not worthy of heaven, but at least you can't take that from me. I did. I'm fighting for you, Lord. I don't deserve you. I'm not a good Christian, but I love you and I fight for you. That's all I can tell you. And it has not been easy. It has cost me everything. And it still costs me dearly. And I'm still being persecuted and hated for it. I don't care anymore. You know what? It comes a point, if you want to be a saint, you better embrace your suffering and love it. Learn to love the negative attention. Negative publicity, as they say, is better than no publicity, right? Well, as a Christian, you need to be a saint. You need to be a saint to go to heaven. And so you're going to be hated and persecuted. Start to love it. You're going to get a lot of negative attention and hate. Start to love it because it means you're doing something right. You're going against the grain. Learn to love to embrace your crosses. Learn to love pain and suffering. Then the devil won't know what to do. It's like if somebody's throwing lemons at you and you have a house full of lemons and they realize you don't hate lemons anymore, but you've learned to love them and you start making lemonade, they're going to stop throwing lemons. They don't know what to throw at you now. The devil keeps throwing pain and suffering and persecution and heartache and all this stuff because he knows that most people don't like that. They run from it. We don't want to suffer. We're taught not to suffer. We're taught to run from pain and adversity and suffering. We're taught to live a life of pleasure and all the opposite. So when the devil uses weapons of pain and suffering and persecution and just evil against you, if you start liking it and starts, he slaps you and says, yes, thank you, let me have another, thank you, come on, what do you got? You got more? He's going to get fed up and be like, this isn't working. Darn these Christians, it's not working. You tack them to a cross and they cry for more. I don't get it. They live for pain and suffering and humiliation and persecution. I can't do anything with people like that because all I can do is evil towards them. And if it doesn't bother them anymore and they're used to it and they embrace it, I got nothing. Let me go after the worldly people who don't have Jesus because they don't like to suffer. So I can make their life miserable. Hold on, guys. I got to take this call.